Hi everyone, it's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue. Good morning. This morning we are going to be doing some really adorable St. Patrick's Day cards. I showed you them briefly last week, I think, but I wanted to show you them again because I want to talk a little bit about the mobile app. You do not need to use the mobile app when you're using your Joy, but it seems like it's a great companion to it because of the portability of the app. So a lot more people are using the app than with their larger machines. So I wanted to kind of clear up a few questions that are out there about the app, and then we're going to also make these really cute St. Patrick's Day cards in 2 colors. So the mobile app is what you see here. It's downloadable from either the Apple App Store or the Android store, the Google, I think it's Google Play. And it's usable on an Android or an Apple device, including an iPad. So I have this app on both my iPhone and my iPad. I show it on my iPad simply because it's a bigger screen, easier to see. Most all of the applications or the things that you can do with the app are the same as the desktop app. So if you're used to the desktop app, there might be some things that are hard to find. And even myself, I sometimes get a little confused about how to do it. So I wanted to show you how I handle that. So these are images that are available if you're a Cricut Access customer. They are part of a grouping of images that is known as a cartridge. And I want to show you how I find them and how I put them into Design Space, my mobile app. And then we'll cut a few. So I'm going to start from scratch, okay? Just so that you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So let's say you watch the video and you want to know, oh gee, how can I make these starting from scratch? And I will, by the way, give you the Design Space link to open this particular project, but I just want you to see how to create something on your own so you'll know. Okay, so we want to start off by making it a new project, and then we do that by using this plus sign, new project, and it brings you to the canvas. Okay, and good morning, Wendy from Brainerd, Minnesota. I'm probably going to bring up the fact that I think that's the name of the city that Fargo, the movie, was filmed in or supposedly filmed in, but I might be wrong there. Tell me if I'm wrong or right, Wendy, okay? But welcome, Minnesota. So here we are on our blank canvas, and we need to find those images, these images here. So what we need to do is to add an image. And good morning, Chatham, New York, June. Good morning, June. So we're adding images. So we do this down here. We do this plus sign, image plus. So we do that, and it brings up this whole slew, wait for a second, but it brings up this whole slew of images, and you might be going, okay, I could probably search, but how do I search for them? And you can do a couple of things here. You can do a basic search and try something like, I don't know, St. Patrick's Day or card, St. Patrick's Day, or you can search by category, and there is indeed a St. Patrick's Day category here, right here. and it will show you all of these images. But sometimes these categories are very full, and you have in your head, South Jersey, good morning, Debbie, welcome. So sometimes these categories are pretty full, and so you start thinking, okay, Rita showed me like 10 different St. Patrick's Day cards, and do I have to go through all of these to find them? Well, no, you don't. You can also search by cartridge, and up here it says cartridge, okay? And you can, when you're doing searching by cartridge, you can certainly look at all the cartridges here. But what I like to do is pick a name, a word, just one word that, like for instance, summer, winter, spring, Christmas, Easter, that kind of thing. And it will bring up the cartridges that have that in the name. Okay. And in this particular case, I know that that these images came from spring. And now you know that these images came from, a cartridge called Spring Holiday Cards. And I'll just click on that so you can see. But the thing about this is that it's a lot of spring holiday cards, okay? So you get Easter, spring, Valentine's, and also St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so it's a pretty big cartridge in and of itself, and you can see here they're sort of jumbled all in together. Okay. And what you also see here, good morning, Rhonda from Albany, Georgia. Good morning. So what you also see here is that they've got them listed with different colors, and that's going to become important in a minute. Okay. So let's say I find all of these ones that are just St. Patrick's Day. And I'm going to just click on each one of those. Right? And you'll see that on the bottom, they're starting to pile up here. And they're also squared with a green square, indicating that these are going to go into your canvas. So let's go find all of those. Luck of the Irish is one. And I think that's all of it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so there's 10 of them. So we're going to insert here. Now, you'll see that they came up and they sort of get jumbled all together on the canvas. So what I do is I just kind of separate them all. And I just do that by touching on the image and then pulling it. It's just something that you can do with an iPad or, any touch screen device. But you'll notice what I pulled in is that some of them have all green, 2 different kinds of green. Some of them have the yellow background. This one here has yellow in the front and red or pink or something in the background. So a lot of times, to make things simple, I like to change it so that there's just 2 colors. That way I can cut them all in 2-color fashion. And there is a feature in the regular design space for the desktop. It's called Sync. Color Sync. And there is also that feature here on Design Space. Oh, good afternoon, Irene. Oh, she's from the UK, Yorkshire, UK. Good afternoon. So it's afternoon over there, yes. Okay, so we've got a sort of a jumble of 2 different kinds of green and then yellow and even 1 pink. So if we want to sync it, like I have mentioned, into 2 colors, which will make it a whole lot easier to cut, we're going to hit this feature down here, Sync. And you'll see it comes up on the right-hand side is here are all our colors. And actually there's that, see this, it probably doesn't mean a whole lot to most people, but that is the Pantone color for that particular color. So it's like a SKU number for that color, just kind of so you understand it. So now what I want to do, let's make all of our backgrounds yellow and all of the front pieces green, and only one color green, okay? So we're going to go down here and see there's our background that's pink. So we're just going to touch on these three little lines, right? And we're going to pull it up and to the yellow. Also here, we've got this one here, that's a top, and we want to put it into the green. So we're going to pull that one down. So I'm just going to go, let's see, this is a background, so I'm going to pull that to the yellow. This one's a background, pull it to yellow. And again, until all of our backgrounds are yellow. And then we're going to, let's see, did I get all the backgrounds? Yeah. Now we need to consolidate the greens because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 greens. And so let's make them all the same color green, doing the same thing, which is that taking that one and pulling it into, and it doesn't matter which one you pull it into, because you get to control the color. But if you were to cut it like this, these would appear on separate mats, okay? So here we go. And we're going to, so now we have two colors. We have yellow and we have green. So we've taken care of the color syncing, okay? But what about the size? I want to make sure that the size is going to cut all the same and all able to cut on the Joy. And remember, when we're cutting on the Joy, one of the measurements cannot exceed 4.25 inches. So we want to make sure that all of these are going to be able to be cut. And I think that I know that these all will cut, because I don't have down here where it says layers, I don't have like that little triangle and that little caution sign which says basically you can't cut this on your Joy. There's something wrong with it, okay? But I want to be uniform and make sure that they all are at that same thing, so that way when I give them away, they're all about the same size. So to change or look at the size, okay, you're going to select one of the images. Let's just choose this one, and we're going to go down here where it says edit. See how the green is, the edit is greened there? So we have a width and we have a height, and then in between them we have this lock thing. Unless you are doing some really special sizing, you want to keep that locked button locked, because when you make a change to one of the measurements, it will be a proportional change, meaning when you change the height, the width will change proportionately, or vice versa. So only if you're really trying to, and you don't care about proportions, do you want to unlock that, okay? So in this particular case, it shows the width is 2.49 and the height is 3.11. Okay, which is kind of small, 2.5 by 3. And it's okay, but it's a little small for me. So I'm going to take the smallest of the two, which is the width, right? And I'm going to make it 4.25. And to do that, I'm going to touch on the width, and you'll see a little like calculator type thing shows up. And then I'm going to type in 4.25. And you see that the height automatically changes to 5.3. That's what I mean about proportions. So this is the size that I want all of them to be, because I want them sort of big, kind of postcard size, like this. So I need to go and repeat this process. But in some cases, they're oriented landscape. In some cases, they're oriented portrait. This one here is landscape. So in this case, I'm not just going to change the width or the height before we change one or the other. I'm just going to choose the smallest one, which is the height, and do it again, 4.25. Okay, and we're just going to go through all of these again and just change them all to 4. So we're basically standardizing all of these images, if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. But we're basically making it so that they all will cut in the exact same size. There's a lot of them here, but that's good. It's good practice. Again, with 4.25, okay? And up here with 4.25. Up here, this one is going to be the height, 4.25. And you see it automatically adjusts the width. Let's do the last two. Whoops, come on, buddy. And this one, 4.25. Whoops, I did that one 4.28, and that's not going to work for us because it's going to show up as not being, well, I mean, there's maybe like give or take a little thing. So you can do the minus or the plus, and that will adjust it to 4.25. And then the last one width is 4.25, okay? So now they're all the exact same size, and they all have the yellow background, and they all have the green front piece. So let's go and cut them on the Joy. Now, you do not need a Joy to cut these. I am using the Joy because I have the Joy and I want to show you how it works. But if you have an Explorer or a Maker, any kind of Explorer, these are easy to cut on those. And again, I'll give you the link in the description of this video. So don't worry if you didn't get your Joy or you didn't get it yet. Some people are waiting for it to be shipped and everything. It's basically a universal project, okay? And while I'm talking about universal projects, I am going to save this before I cut it. And to save this, I'm going to use that little, the save icon, right? And I'm going to choose save, and I'm going to title it as St. Patrick, whatever you want to call it, St. Patrick's Day postcards. How's that? Okay, now I save all of my projects to the cloud only because I run out of room a lot. I take a lot of video, I take a lot of photos, and also I work on many different machines. If you wanted to, you could save it just to your local location. That's so that you can work offline. But for me, I'm always online, so I do save it to the cloud. Okay. So now we have a saved, and it tells us it's been saved. Okay. So now we have this saved project, and let's cut it. So we're going to hit make it down here. And we automatically get given a choice. Do we want to do this on a mat or without a mat, or on the card mat, or multiple ways? Well, today we are not using Cricut Smart Materials, so we do need a mat, okay? So we're going to choose on mat. The card mat, which we've talked about in the past, is for those special pre-folded cards. We're not doing those today. And then multiple ways is just with or without a mat, and you'll have to select for each mat, or each screen, I should say, what way you want it to go. But so in this case, we're going to be simple. We're going to do it all on a mat. Okay. I chose without mat. That's so funny. Okay, let me change it to, wait, let's go back. I don't know why I changed it to without mat. Well, maybe it did it on purpose. I'm trying to think. Oh, because it's 7 without mat, 7-inch. All right, so these are on mat, and this one here, particular, is not on the mat. Not sure why it did that. So I think what we'll do is we'll go back, cancel it, and see about changing this one to on the mat. Nope, I can't seem to change that one. That's really interesting. Okay, not really sure what's going on with that, but the rest of our images are cutting on a mat. So we're going to just kind of ignore that. And what we want to do is, since we're working with the longer mat, so I'm going to ignore, which one am I going to ignore? This one. And I'm going to go and look at all my mats, okay? Now, if we're using the 6-inch mats, we would probably cut one on each of those cards, but we're not. We're going to use the 12-inch mats. That's these ones here. And so I'm going to change the material size to 12 inches. And let me see. Why is it not doing it? I think sometimes I do get a little bit of a problem with my... Oh. Well, I don't know why that's doing that. Oops. Oh, here we go. No. Wow. Okay. To me, that seems like maybe a bug, because I've been doing this and actually did it this morning. It's very interesting. Well, okay. So normally I would cut this 2 at a time on the mat, but I'm going to have to go back and report this as maybe a bug. But let's soldier on, and we'll go into this and we'll cut them on the smaller mat. So we're going to hit continue. And what that means is I'm going to have 20 mats and I would rather have 10 mats, okay? But we'll just work through it, okay? So in this case, we're going to choose the material, and we're using a medium cardstock. And here I've cut out some of these strips of paper from basic, just solid color. I did yellow and I did green, and I cut them from a 12 by 12 sheet. So in this case, it's bigger because we have all those mats. So let's use our 6-inch sheet. I'm going to have to cut them in half now. Do that by hand. I'm not a very good by hand cutter, but we are being flexible. All right. Okay, so there's our 6-inch mat with 6 inches of material, and I'm going to put it into the machine, and it's loading. And then I'm going to hit go, and it's going to cut. Actually, I just noticed I made a mistake here because I'm cutting the front in yellow. I shouldn't be cutting the front in yellow, but I think I got sort of off track with that issue. So sorry, guys. We'll do the other one in green. And I'm going to, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to cut my material into 6-inch pieces so we can cut it on that 6-inch mat too. Normally I use a cutter, and I showed you yesterday how to use a cutter, but my cutter's all the way over there on the other side of the table, and we're live, and things like this always happen when we're live, so you know how it is. Good morning from Dallas. Well, so it's kind of early there. Shelley, thanks for joining us. So we're just cutting, I won't cut them all, but just cut a few so you can see how this cuts on the machine. Hey, so while we're waiting for it to cut, I want to talk a little bit about mats and making sure that the mats, your mats are well cared for, because really it's important. And, you know, part of the thing is that mats are replaceable, but they can be a bit pricey. So you want to prolong the wear of your mat, whether it is the 6-inch or the 12-inch mat. Let me just hit go. And what I've found is the best way to prolong the mat, let me just take this out, is to keep the cover on it, first of all. That's important. It comes with this little protective mat cover. And so it's important to kind of put it back on the mat when you're not using it. But you know, when you're cutting paper, the mats get what I call lint. It's like paper lint. And if I hold it up, you can maybe see it. It's like kind of linty. And what happens is that lint gets stuck on the sticky part. And then what happens is that the stick kind of loses its effectiveness, becomes less sticky. So the easy way to get around this is to wash your mats. You don't have to do it every single time, but I'd say, you know, every 10 or 12 uses to wash them. What you want to wash them with is a solution of soap and hot water, and use like the scrubby part of a sponge, but not a really rough sponge, because really what you're going to want to do is create sort of like kind of like a soapy mixture, and then use that sponge lightly just to remove that lint. Okay. And you're not trying to scrub off that stick. Okay, you're not trying to scrub off the stick. Simply scrub off that lint that collects on the mats. Okay, and it just collects on the mats. There's really, especially if you cut paper, there's really no way around that. It's just part of cutting with a mat, I suppose. So here is one of our cutouts. Let's see, here's another one, the one that I did in yellow, and we're going to proceed on and continue to cut that. But in between, when you take something off the mat, it leaves behind what I call the negative cut, or the negative space, and so you do need to clean it off. And I use one of these. It's called a scraper. It comes in a large size, and it comes in this size. This is the size most people use, and with the Joy, it's really the only size you need. You don't need the extra large one, but I do use the extra large one, and I do like it. And so just moving the scraper across the mat to just remove all of that extra pieces that are on the mat. So let's continue on. I'll just cut a couple of more so you can see that. Now, I want to point out that there are some people that would recommend that you use a solution like a solvent, and will tell you to go and go to like the dollar store and buy the solvent. I do not recommend that you do that. And the reason being is, you know, I have point blank asked the folks at Cricut, you know, would you recommend that? And they said, absolutely not. And not for the reason that you might think, but rather for the fact that a solvent the word is SOLV. It has the word SOLV in there, solvent. What is a solvent? It dissolves things, and it will dissolve that stick that's on your mat. And there were older mats that you could use that solvent for, but they've changed because they do go through many, many iterations of mats. And they actually have 3 different kinds of mats. The green one is the standard stick. The blue one is the light grip. And then you've got purple ones, which they aren't available for the Joy, but they are available available for the other machines, and those are the stronger grip. Okay, but do not use a solvent. Just use soapy water, warm soapy water, and then a little bit of a you can either use your fingernails or you can use a sponge, like the scrubby part of a sponge. My blade got dull after just making 5 cards. Okay. Oh, that's terrible. I have not experienced that, Cindy. But I will show you a little trick on how to make it a little sharper, and I'm going to tell you actually what the trick is. So let me do that. Let me finish up with the mats. So when we're done using the mats, we put the cover on. When they start to feel like they're losing their stick, wash them with warm soapy water and then drip dry. Don't use a towel on that. And I want to just show you this. These were mats that this morning were not sticky, and I washed them, and now they have the stick back. Now you can do this cleaning a couple of times, but eventually you do need to replace your mats. Okay. It's just sort of the way things are. And I have not yet found a good use for the not stickable mats. And I am heavy on mats. So I do often replace my mats, and I kind of keep them in rotation. I don't just have one mat. So knowing that you're going to, when doing this, you are going to from time to time have to replace the mats. And as Cindy brought up, yes, Cindy. And Cindy brought up that sometimes the blades will get dull too. And it should not get dull after 5 cards. And what I probably would recommend, Cindy, is that you call customer care or chat with them and tell them that first. And then in the meantime, rather than going out and buying a new blade, which eventually you will have to buy new blades, not after 5 times, but eventually you will have to buy a new blade. Let me show you how to remove the blade first of all, and to replace it. You're going to just open this clamp, make sure it's in view. You open the clamp and take out the housing. And to remove the blade, you're going to press on the plunger. This is the same theory in the larger machines, although the blade and housing are slightly different size, okay? But these ones are like a third smaller. So you take out this blade, and then you would either replace it, or you can take a little ball of tin foil and sort of stab the tin foil while moving around the blade, and that will sharpen it. But Cindy, I would definitely call them and tell them that happened. They may send you a replacement blade for that. It should not happen. I've been using this Joy now for 3 weeks, and I haven't had to change the blade, and I've been using it hard. So that seems a little bit of an anomaly. Okay. So that's blades and that's mats. And let's see, I'm just going to show you this. And, sometimes little pieces stick and you're going to have to pull them out with your fingers. That just happens. That's nothing to do with anything. But so you would cut out these, and you would also cut out these backs. Oh, good. I'm glad you did, Cindy. Cindy says she emailed them to talk to them about it. So that's a good thing. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you a little trick, and it's not something that Cricut told me to do, but it is something that I do because I am a little bit frugal, having to do with the mat, and in particular the card mat. The card mat it's a lovely thing. However, it doesn't have the same stick as the regular mats do. It's really got a different kind of stick, and I assume that there'll be different iterations as they go on, because this is a brand new product. Okay, but what I've found is that the card mat really doesn't respond to the washing the way that a regular mat does. So I have done this trick, and it's sort of at your own caution. And so it's not recommended necessarily by Cricut, and they have actually reduced the retail price of the card mat in response to the fact that the stick does not last very long. But because I couldn't get a card mat, because I did this before they came out on March 1st, and I couldn't get another card mat, I resorted to this so I could show people how to use the mat. And so, it's sort of use at your own caution kind of a thing. But what I did was I took this glue. It's called Zig glue, two-way glue. It's blue, okay? And this one's a chisel tip, although they do have another one that's bigger. And it's a liquid glue. Excuse me. It's a clear liquid glue. That when you apply it and let it dry, it becomes repositionable. And so what I did was I took this, and you do have to prime it a little bit so that the tip is blue. But I took it and I very carefully put the glue on the part of the mat that I was using the most. And I did use a little, just a little bit, not a lot. You are not going to want to soak this up, and you can even just do just do the around part and then an X, and then you allow it to dry, and it will bring back a stick. You do not want to a little bit is a good thing, so a lot is an even better thing. No, you want to just put a little tiny bit and then allow it to dry. That's the important part, and it will give you back some stick. And again, I'm telling you that because I'm kind of a frugal person, and I hate to buy mats because I don't, and sometimes I'm in a pinch like I was before the launch, and I use this. It's not something I do on a regular basis, but if you do, encounter that with your card mat and you just got it, then that's a really great solution for you. Actually, I'm not going to put that on there. I'm going to allow it to dry. And it takes a few minutes to dry, and then it will kind of restore some of the stick. And the thing is, I only put it on the edges, because when you think about a mat, usually where you lose the stick is at the very top in the corner. And if this was, you could turn it around, it would be both top left-hand corners. And so I only just do the top, and then I do the X to sort of hold in the middle, because when you're talking about losing your stick on your mat, most of the time the stick is lost here at the top or along the side, and that's the important part where you want the stick. Okay, so that's a little trick, and this is called, Cindy, this is called Zig. And you have to get this kind, maybe not this particular maker, but you have to get this kind called two-way glue, okay? Because it's two-way. The dual action is that it sticks like regular glue, but then it also is dry. It creates a repositionable glue, okay? So that's my little trick there. But please do not use solvents to clean your mats, and definitely put the protective covers on there, and definitely wash them with soapy water, because they will return the stick after it's been washed and dried. Maybe you just wash it and you're like, it didn't work. Give it a few minutes, allow it to dry, and then when it dries, the stick will return to that. Okay, so that is this morning's lesson this morning, and I'm going to go back and figure out what I did here, but I want here, because I'm unsure why it didn't cut on the 12-inch mats, but I'll figure that out soon. And when I post this link, you can feel free to pick it up. It's free. These images are from Access, Cricut Access. So if you're an Access member, then they're free to cut. But all of my files are free to look at. You only, if you're not an Access customer and you went to cut this, you're only going to have to pay for the image that you're cutting. And you only pay for it once. I honestly think that the Cricut Access membership is a really good deal. And I have been a Cricut Access member for years, actually, now. I think it's like 3 years now. So you're welcome. You're welcome, Debbie. So that is sort of the lesson for today, is making these St. Patrick's Day postcards and how to find them in Design Space, how to resize them, how to sync the colors, and then a little bit about how to take care of your mats and your blades. So I thank you all for coming. Unless you had some questions, I'm going to wrap it up. I wanted to thank you all so much for coming and for joining me. And I would love a response. I know I do get, thousands of people are watching the videos, and I usually will repost them on YouTube as well. So if you are if you missed this live video and you're watching it now, know that all these videos are being archived on my Miss Rita to the Rescue Facebook page, and also on my YouTube page, which can be found by searching Miss Rita to the Rescue. And I would love, love, love if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's growing. And also my Facebook page, you can follow me on Facebook, and so you'll be notified when I go live, and also whenever I post there. So, and we've got at the end of the week, we're going to start our giveaways for the month of March. I'm still thinking really hard about what I should do for a giveaway. So any kind of comments would be really useful. Thank you, Wendy. So any comments about what you would like to receive in a giveaway would be really useful. Last month, we did an infusible ink giveaway. And so I was able to award 10 infusible ink prize packs to 10 people. And the month before that, we did some spring. It was kind of a spring sampler where we did like a roll of vinyl and a roll of iron-on paper, and I think glitter paper. I try to keep the prizes to about $50, so that way I can give them out to more people. And I can also do a very, very large prize, but I like to give more people the prizes. It just seems like more fun to me. So if you have any thoughts about that, please definitely just comment. I read all of the comments, and I try to respond to them all as well. So thanks so much for coming this morning. My name is Rita, and this is my channel, Miss Rita to the Rescue. I really appreciate your time, and I hope that this has been helpful to you. Have a great day.